guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. For today's video, we are going to be chatting through some of the most hyped up beauty products of all time that I actually think are not worth the hype. They really didn't live up to the expectations that I had for them based on all of the hype around them, but instead of just leaving it at that, I thought I would also share an underhyped product that I think is better than the overhyped product that definitely deserves more love. So we'll cover all beauty categories in today's video. I have products like dry shampoo, self-tanner, concealer, tinted sunscreen, untinted sunscreen. I have cream bronzer and more. So if you are interested in hearing my thoughts on some of these really viral beauty products that just kind of let me down and what I like better, then you've come to the right spot, and we're going to jump into that in a second. But before we do, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell, and drop a comment below letting me know how you are doing today. I hope you guys are all doing great, and thank you so much for doing all of those things because it really helps to support me with the YouTube algorithm. If you need anything from me at all, check out my description box below. I have Lightroom preset filters for editing your Instagram photos, my SPF merch, timestamps, discount codes, links to all of the products that we'll be talking through today, and links to my favorite beauty products of all time. All right, let's jump into it. First up, we have the Missha Soft Finish Sun Milk Sunscreen. I could not wait to get my hands on this. I swear I saw this in every single sunscreen thumbnail on YouTube for at least a year, if not longer. It has such a cute, memorable bottle. So I knew I purchased the right one, even though I felt like I didn't when I first tried this out. I was very confused because I was not loving it. It definitely does have that really liquidy running consistency that is typically a trademark of an Asian sunscreen. So at first I was like, yes, this is gonna be great. You guys know I love Asian sunscreens, but it just doesn't have that super lightweight feel that I love in an Asian sunscreen. It definitely does feel a little bit oily on my skin. And as somebody with oily skin, I just don't love that. Plus on top of that, I personally feel this leaves a little bit of a white cast on my skin. It's definitely not the worst I've ever tried, but I was very confused by that as well, knowing how many people love this because I have super, super fair skin naturally. So I'm like, how are other people getting away with using this if it's looking like this on me? So this was definitely a fail for me. I was really bummed because I had such high hopes. I do think you would really enjoy this if you had dry skin because it's not a thick, heavy cream, and oftentimes those are the product types that are marketed towards dry skin. But if you're already using really thick moisturizers, you may just want something lighter weight on top for sunscreen. So this would be really nice because it gives you that little oily feel, may help to soften dry spots. But if you're super oily, I would skip this one. I don't think you'll love. One that you will love though, that I definitely think deserves more hype, is the Skinnick Enjoy Super Mild Sun Essence. So this is another Asian sunscreen. It's also an SPF 50 with a PA rating of ++++, just like the Missha sunscreen, but this is better. So the active sunscreen ingredients in this are all next generation chemical filters, and on top of the sun protection, this has tons of nice hydrating and calming ingredients like niacinamide, Centella asiatica, hyaluronic acid, panthenol, green tea, and adenosine. Plus, on top of that, it has an incredible formula. It has this really nice, light kind of, I would say, jelly lotion consistency. It feels very hydrating on the skin. It's soft, it dries down quickly, it doesn't feel oily, doesn't look greasy, but it definitely does give the skin just a nice natural glow. Plus, there's absolutely no white cast. So I would pick this over Missha any day. I freaking love this sunscreen. You'll have to let me know in the comments below if you've tried it because I feel like this is just one that I don't really ever hear about, and I should, because it's that good. The other skincare product I have for this video is also a sunscreen, but a tinted sunscreen this time. This is the Bliss Block Star Invisible Daily Sunscreen. It's an SPF 30 with zinc oxide and titanium dioxide as the active ingredient, so it's a mineral sunscreen. And I will say I wasn't as disappointed by this as the Missha sunscreen, but I still wasn't as wowed by it as I thought I was going to be. The first thing that really threw me off about this is the smell. Oh my gosh. It does have essential oils in it and you can really smell them. I think it's the lavender I'm smelling. I just don't, I mean, on top of that potentially causing irritation for people, I do not like putting products on my skin that smell like this. Nothing about that smells good to me. I do not want to rub this on my face. Ugh. This is definitely not a sunscreen that I would consider to be super lightweight. It feels creamier than I was expecting it to, and while I don't think it feels super heavy on the skin, again, it's not something that I would say is super lightweight. I definitely do prefer a little bit of a lighter weight sunscreen. Something that is nice about this though is that it does feel moisturizing and hydrating, and it doesn't look greasy on the skin. So that's nice. If you do prefer a little bit of a creamier tinted sunscreen, then I think you would enjoy it, but I was like, dang, I wanted this to be lighter weight, and I also don't love the tint. It definitely just pulls a little bit too pink on my skin tone, and when I do have a tan with this like level of tint, because this would be way too dark for my natural skin, I do definitely lean warm and undertone. So it's passable for me, but it doesn't look quite right. I would love to see more shades, just like I would tinted sunscreens from literally every other brand. Still waiting for better shades. So it's not like this is a bad product or something that I would say you need to stay away from. I can understand why certain people with certain skin types would really like this, but I am just not one of those people. Not my absolute fave. My favorite tinted sunscreen is still the Dermatology Universal Tinted Moisturizer SPF 46. I'm obsessed with this, and this is definitely a brand that deserves more hype. I think that it's pretty well known in the skincare community on YouTube, but outside of that, this is not a super well-known brand, and I would love for it to have more hype because they have such amazing products, including this sunscreen right here. Unlike the Bliss sunscreen, this does not have added fragrance or essential oils, so you don't have to worry about a weird smell, and I do prefer the way that this feels as well. I think it's lighter weight, not quite as creamy, but it still is very hydrating and soft on the skin. It's super, super nice, and it gives your skin a really beautiful, natural, glowy finish. I also prefer the undertone of this because it does lean a little bit warmer, which is just better suited for me. I know not everybody has a warm undertone, but I still think that this is nice because it doesn't look orange. It's a little warmer, but not orange like some tinted sunscreens definitely can be. So for all of those reasons, plus the fact that this is an SPF 46 and Bliss is an SPF 30, I prefer the Dermatology sunscreen to Bliss. I love this. I still have yet to find another tinted sunscreen that I enjoy more than this, which is why I'm still recommending it a couple of years later. So if you haven't tried this out, I do have a 20% off discount link in the description boxes of all of my videos for any dermatology products. It is an affiliate link, so no pressure, but always much appreciated when you use my discount links. No extra cost to you, just 20% off this beautiful sunscreen, which I love so much. That's it for skincare for this video. Let's move on to makeup next, starting off with the OG IT Cosmetics CC Cream. So their original formula, not the new Nude Glow formula that they have. If you do want to see that in action, I have a video where I review it and compare it to other viral complexion products and foundations, so I will list that in my description box below. But we're talking OG here today, so this has SPF 50, and that's definitely one of the reasons why I think this went viral, because it was one of the first products that offered that level of sun protection with that amount of coverage. I haven't had this product in my collection for a couple of years at this point, so I don't have it to show you, but I'm sure many of you are familiar with this because it's one that so many people have used and loved. It is said to be a flawless full coverage foundation that hydrates, moisturizes, brightens, color corrects, diminishes pores, and offers SPF 50 protection. This is one of those products that I felt like I was forcing myself to love because everybody else loved it. So I remember like back when I first started posting about beauty, I wasn't even on YouTube yet, but was posting some stuff on Instagram, and I remember recommending this product because I'm like, everyone says it's so good, I know people love it. And it's not bad, I just don't actually love it. I do think that it definitely feels heavy on the skin compared to all of the other complexion products that I've tried. It feels heavy in my opinion, and it definitely does look very greasy on my skin by the end of the day. Again, I have oily skin, so keep that in mind, but it just did not agree with my skin type, even though it did give really nice coverage, and once it was set with powder at first, it did look very pretty. It's just as the day went on, I was like, gross, I look like a grease ball, and I feel this sitting on my skin. So that's why that one is a pass for me. But a product that I think is totally underrated that I never hear anyone talking about that also has SPF 50 is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation with Sunscreen. This is something that I talked about in my latest empties video. I told you guys that I wasn't planning to repurchase because I'm so obsessed with the L'Oreal Hyaluronic Tinted Serum, but this is still so good, and for the sake of comparing it to IT Cosmetics, a product that gives you coverage with SPF 50, this takes the cake for me, no question. Something that I love about this product is that it offers versatile levels of coverage. So if you want it to be as full coverage as the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, you can definitely build it up to that point. But it starts off a little bit more medium in coverage at first, which I think just looks really pretty. It's a little bit more natural looking on the skin, and it definitely does not feel as heavy as the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. That one has like a tacky, sticky feel to it. This does not at all, but it still gives a really beautiful glow. It doesn't look greasy on me, and it's just so nice. And a lot cheaper at that. So I know people talk a lot about the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream and say that that is a dupe for the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. I personally don't think so, because the e.l.f. CC Cream is much more matte in finish. This, I think, is a much closer dupe if we're talking about a complexion product with SPF 50. So if you're on the hunt for something like that, go for this over IT Cosmetics. Thank me later. Next up is the Say Hydra Beam Concealer, which I wanted to love so badly because this went viral on TikTok and it looked so beautiful in the videos that I saw. I had really high hopes for it, but it's just not quite the concealer for my dark circle needs. I do feel like I have quite a bit of discoloration under my eyes, prominent dark circles, so I understand why this didn't work out for me because it's not supposed to be a super full coverage concealer. It's claimed to be an ultra hydrating sheer concealer that covers just enough and illuminates a lot. So I know it's supposed to be sheer coverage, but I think I was hoping it would have a little bit more coverage than that since so many people were loving it, and it's not enough for me in my dark circles. So in order for me to get enough coverage from this, I have to pack on quite a bit of product, and then in doing that, it definitely does crease under my eyes and it doesn't hold up well throughout the day. It looks pretty cakey. The other thing that I don't love about this is the doe foot applicator. It's this small kind of point that just doesn't really pick up a lot of product. So it's just kind of annoying to use. I do have to dip it back in the tube quite a few times, which is not a deal breaker, but something I didn't love. So the concealer that I am still really loving is one that I've mentioned a couple times on my channel already. It is the Lancome Tanti Doll Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. I wish I had this on today. I actually put on the Say concealer because I was like, let's try it one last time. Maybe I'll change my mind and love it like everyone else. But I still don't. It's creasing a lot. It doesn't look good. So I wish I had this on because this never does that to me. It doesn't crease. It doesn't settle into lines. It's super lightweight. It definitely feels lighter weight than the Say concealer, but it gives more coverage. It doesn't have quite as satiny a finish, but it's not super matte either. I would say it's just more of a natural finish. So good all day wear. It does not get better than this. I wonder if this is just not getting the hype that I think it deserves because of its name. So if you're familiar with the Lancome Tanti Doll Ultra Wear Foundation, then you will know that that is a full coverage kind of satiny matte foundation. It's beautiful, but it's definitely not the type of foundation that is trending right now. It's not the more natural, juicy looking foundation that people are loving. So I wonder if people are thinking that this is gonna be a really matte, intensely full coverage concealer. And it's definitely not at all. I do think that this looks a little bit more natural on the skin than the foundation. It's not one of those concealers that's gonna be like flawless full coverage where you can't see anything underneath it, but it definitely does cover up my dark circles to the level that I need. So I love this. I would definitely recommend it. I think that it's beautiful. You'll have to let me know if you've tried this and what your thoughts are. The last makeup product that I wanted to talk about is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand. Oh my gosh, one of the most hyped up makeup products of all time by far, and to a certain extent, I understand the hype. It has a really nice lightweight kind of jelly consistency that blends beautifully on the skin. It's very buildable. It's a formula that's really easy to work with. But for me, this does not last all day. I do definitely notice color fade, especially on my forehead, kind of near like my hairline. I notice it fade quite a bit there towards the end of the day. So not a long wear product for me. And I just don't love this shade. They only have 2 shades available. Definitely not enough. It is something that looks a little bit muddy on me, which makes sense again to a certain extent because it's supposed to be a contour wand and not a bronzing wand. But I just don't love contour like I used to. I like to bronze my skin. I don't want to just create sharp shadows. So not a product that is worth it to me, even though I don't think it's bad. But one that is absolutely worth it to me is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Bronzer. This is so freaking good, but it's not a new product. So I've probably talked about this on my channel for at least a year at this point, which I think is one of the biggest reasons why there's not really any hype around it anymore. When things aren't brand new, they're not as sparkly and fun, and people don't want to talk about it as much, but this should be talked about more. It's one of the best, honestly, if not the best cream bronzers I have ever tried. This has a really interesting formula because when you're just feeling it inside the packaging, it feels pretty creamy and like it may be a little bit of a heavy, greasy cream bronzer. Could not be anything less like that. It kind of morphs into like a cream to powder the second you start blending it on the skin. It's super lightweight, a little goes a long way, and it has the most insanely amazing blending ability. I feel like I can just slap this on my skin and it looks good no matter what. Such a good blend. It blends on top of liquid products, on top of powder products. I love this so much, and it has a really nice natural finish on the skin. It's not going to look overly greasy or shiny. It's just beautiful. So I know this brand is not as trendy as it once was, but this is a product that I absolutely think deserves more hype. All right, let's move on to hair care products next. First up is a dry shampoo from Amika called the Perk Up Dry Shampoo. People freaking love this, and I wanted to freaking love this because I freaking love Amika. They have such amazing hair care products. They smell so good. They have such cute packaging. I love everything about that brand, but unfortunately, this just did not cut it for me. It gives good levels of oil control, but definitely not great and not to the level that I need. I'm a once a week hair washer, as I'm sure almost all of you know at this point. So my hair's looking pretty greasy by day 4, and this just does not give me the level of oil absorption that I need for that. I also feel like this leaves kind of a sheeny, shiny finish on my hair, which I sometimes love if the dry shampoo absorbs oils enough, because then it just leaves your hair looking healthy and refreshed. But because this doesn't do that for me, I'm like, this is kind of doing nothing plus just adding shine. So I don't know, this is one that I just have not really ever been able to get to work for me. I've tried it so many times, but I've never loved it. One that is a newer addition to my dry shampoo collection that I feel like I never hear anyone talking about is the L'Oreal Everpure Tinted Dry Shampoo. I love the idea of a tinted dry shampoo. This is the first one I ever tried. It definitely does just lighten up my roots, but it doesn't leave them looking ashy or white like a typical dry shampoo kind of white powdery cast. It's perfect because my hair definitely looks darker when it's dirtier. So just lightens it up a little bit and has great oil absorption. I have the blonde hair option here, but they do also have a brunette option if you have darker hair. So hopefully you'll be able to find one with a shade that works for you, because I think that this is great. Next up is a hair oil that is not necessarily super hyped up in this moment, but it's one of those products that has just always had a lot of hype, and it's the Moroccan Oil treatment. This is not a bad product. I just think you can find something just like this basically anywhere else. I think that there are hair oils that are a lot better, and there's hair oils that are a lot better for a lot cheaper. The standout ingredient in this is definitely argan oil. That is an amazing oil for the hair, very nourishing, full of fatty acids, but this also has silicones in it, and those are actually the first 2 ingredients on the label. So cyclomethicone and dimethicone are the first 2 ingredients, followed by argan oil, then fragrance, then linseed extract, then a couple of dyes, and that's it. And you guys know I'm team silicone, so it's not like that's a bad thing. I just think for the price, there should be more to this than just silicones and argan oil. So for the underrated product, I'm just gonna say drugstore hair oils in general. There are so many amazing hair oils at the drugstore that people not only don't hype up, but also say are terrible products, and they're not, because when you look at the ingredients, it's the same freaking thing. So one that I think is awesome, especially for a pre-shampoo oil treatment, is the, oh gosh, this is one of those products that has a million names all on the label. The OGX Extra Strength Damage Remedy plus Coconut Miracle Oil Penetrating Oil. So this ingredients list is also pretty basic, but no more basic than the Moroccan oil. This also has some silicones, coconut oil, plant extracts, and fragrance. Same thing. The Nature Lab Tokyo Perfect Shine Oil Mist is another really good one. This is only like $15 and has some great ingredients, and I love a good oil mist. So I will list some of my top drugstore hair oils below, along with a video where I talk through 5 that I really love. So again, I feel like drugstore hair oils have a bad rap, and they definitely should not. They are great. They are solid. They're the same exact type of thing as this. Let's wrap up this video by talking about self-tan drops. So the brand that I feel I heard the most about for a long time in this specific product category is Tan-Luxe. I wonder if maybe they were one of the first brands to do a tan drop, and that's why, but I heard such good things. I was super excited to try it, and I was just not impressed. The first time that I used this, I used more drops than they recommended, and even still, I ended up with not much color payoff and a pretty streaky result. So I tested it out a few more times, and I figured out that for me personally, in order to get really nice color, I had to use 52 drops total, which is a lot of drops. I'm okay doing that. It's just that the product is like $50. So you would go through that really quickly, and then it's pricey and you would need to repurchase pretty often, especially if you're tall like me. We have more skin to cover. But aside from needing to use 52 drops, I still didn't love the color. I feel like it definitely leaned pretty orange on me. It didn't look natural, and it also smelled very intense. I have a lot of self-tanners that have that classic, just not so pleasant self-tan smell, but I put up with it because the color result is beautiful. It's not worth it for me in this situation. So I would skip Tan-Luxe if I were you, but that's just me. And I would definitely go for the Tannologist self-tan drops. These are definitely my favorite self-tan drops. I think they are so good. That's actually what I have on right now. Come on. I think these are so much better than Tan-Luxe. The color is beautiful, and I definitely still do need a lot of drops, more than they would recommend, but not 52. I don't need that many. But even if I did, this would be a better deal because it's $22 versus the $50 for Tan-Luxe. So I prefer this. It definitely does have that self-tan smell, but it's not as intense as Tan-Luxe. I get such a beautiful even tan with this. I freaking love that color. I just think it looks so nice. All around, I think this is a better product. So I 100% would recommend this. If you would like to see this compared to Tan-Luxe, I actually do have a video where I test out 4 different self-tan drop brands, including Bondi Sands and Isle of Paradise. So I will list that below. But if you don't want to watch that, that's okay. Just buy this instead. All right, you guys, we are going to wrap up this video here. Those are all the products that I wanted to talk through for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed this. And if you would like to see a part 2 on this video, because there's definitely always more where that came from, let me know in the comments below. I would be happy to make this a series. Let me know if you're going to test out any of the products that I talked about in this video, or if you had similar experiences to me with the products that I didn't love, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you love some of the products I talked about, and let me know if that's the case too. It's always interesting for me to hear products like that work really well for some people and just not the same for me. As always, all of the products that I talked through in this video will be listed and linked in my description box in order of mention, so it's really easy for you to find. But if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend. Thank you so much for doing those things. Your support means the world. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Stay tuned for my next video because that will be up in a few days. But until then, I hope you have a great few days.